but not least, I want my family. Let me just quickly introduce my wife, Keiko. Keiko and I have been married 14 years come May, and we have 5 children. From oldest to youngest, we have Ty, Mana, Garrett, Maya, and Ezra. Ty has been helping keep the Wii game activities going, and I appreciate the support there. And Mana's been helping with some of the other activities and helping with snacks, yes. I just wanted to go on record that unlike a candidate who spoke earlier this week, my children are not available. I just wanted to take a moment to say a few words about my candidacy. A few years ago, I was working a very stressful and demanding job for a large local corporation. And this job was so stressful and demanding that it really took a toll on my marriage and my health. Almost 2 years ago, I chose to leave that employment and focus on mending my family relationships and restoring my health. And it didn't take long to get those things in order, and I was grateful for that. So, needless to say, my wife was a little surprised when a few months ago, while standing in our kitchen, one evening after the kids had gone to bed, I threw out the idea of possibly running for Metro Council, and she looked at me like I was nuts. I was like, "Are you kidding?" And but I was ready for her. I had my whole pitch ready for her. But I knew the one card that I was going to have to play very carefully was regarding the issue of her and the children and time. And so in our discussion and making this decision, through much prayer and talking with family and friends and other supporters, I made the decision that if this is going to work, I'm going to have to build the campaign around my family and to include them in as many of the events as possible. So it was kind of a no-brainer that my kickoff, my first event, would be a family fun night. And looking around, it's been a tremendous success. I thank each of you for being here this evening. Again, talking about why I'm running. Some of you may be familiar with the parable of the starfish. Now, if you're not, let me just briefly summarize it for you. There was one day an elderly gentleman walking down the beach and came upon thousands and thousands of starfish that had washed up on the shore. And as he looked farther down the beach, he saw a young man, a boy, who was picking the starfish up and throwing them back into the ocean. He was curious, so he went up to the young man and he said, "What are you doing? Why are you wasting your time? There's thousands of these starfish. There's no way you can throw them all back in. You're not going to make a difference." Well, the young man, he looked down at his feet, he bent over, picked up the starfish, and gently tossed it back in the water. And then he looked at the elderly man and said, "I made a difference to that." Now, for those of you who have visited my campaign website, and I'll give a little plug here for the website, the first thing you'll notice on my homepage is there's a poem by Edward Everett Hale. And it goes something like this. "I am one. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do." Now you may be thinking at this point, well, what does starfish and parables and poems have to do with this candidacy here? Well, really, they're the essence of why I'm running. Or they illustrate the essence of why I'm running. I am one, and I don't have any grand illusions that once elected I'm going to go in and change government and correct all the problems and be the savior of our community. But I know that I have some great ideas. And I know that I'm a hard worker, and I know that I can make a difference in some way. Even if it's just a single person, a single starfish. I don't want to take a lot of time and bore people with the details of the issues, but there's a couple of things I did want to touch upon. Louisville's a great community. It's a great place to live, a great place to raise a family. However, the way it's run sometimes is not always conducive to business and creating and generating jobs. And today, there's some new unemployment numbers that came out for the city of Louisville. And once again, the unemployment numbers inched up from 10.6 to 10.7%. We're going in the wrong direction, even after all the stimulus and everything else that the government's doing. Now, I don't pretend that I'm going to be able to do anything at the federal government level as a Metro Councilman, but there's lots of things, the way the city is run, that can be tweaked and changed using my background in operations management and trying to streamline things, making sure that we're not being wasteful. I'm grateful that there are two Republican candidates for mayor that feel the same way I do about business. And I'm excited that either of these gentlemen have an excellent shot of winning. And I look forward to the opportunity as Metro Councilman to work with whichever one ends up winning, because I know that one of them will be our next mayor. And I look forward to working with them to correct some of the problems that have been, caused some burdens on the businesses and organizations that generate jobs and help build our community, and lift some of that burden. One other issue, for those of you who live in the neighborhood or this area, you'll be very familiar with. Sometimes with planning and zoning, we had a tendency to build first and plan later, whether it be with traffic flow or other infrastructure issues. My neighbors here know that over the last 7-8 years, we've dealt with issues with water pressure here. When I first built my house and moved in, I went out to the builder put down the sod, and I went out to turn on the sprinkler, and I had about 3 feet high of water pressure. You probably didn't notice because of the fog, but right now along English Station Road out here, they finally, after 5 years, they're installing a new water main. And we're glad that it's coming in, but it's a few years too late. Those type of infrastructure should have been built into the planning before ground was ever broken into the houses here. Now, that's not just an issue for this area of Louisville and this district, but it's for all of Louisville, and I plan to work to try to correct some of those issues. One last thing I did want to touch upon that's close to me. As a practitioner and student, because initially when I moved to Louisville, I was a student at U of L, grad student in business, and as a student of business, practitioner in business, and a teacher in business, education is important to me. And with 5 young children, Keiko and I make a lot of sacrifices to make sure that they get the best education that they can. And when we chose to move to Louisville 8 years ago, we chose Middletown for numerous reasons. It's a wonderful community. But our public library facility was not one of the reasons we chose. And those of you who are familiar with the Middletown branch, it's kind of embarrassing. And this district is considered to be among one of the more affluent areas of Louisville. And we can do better. And we can do it without any new library taxes. And I look forward to working to bring a new facility that our community can be proud of. Now, just in summary, I wanted to say that you can't spell Daniel Osborne without first starting with a D and an O. Do. Now, as I said in the poem earlier, I cannot do everything, but I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. My name is Daniel Osborne, and as District 19 Metro Councilman, I promise that I will do the something that I can do to improve District 19 and the Louisville community. And I thank you again for all coming this evening. Please enjoy your time.